every 2 years a new Need for Speed game comes out, and it kind of had me thinking. Normally the game is revealed around June, and then it's released in November. It's almost August now. I'm just thinking to myself, where the hell is it? Alright, I already know that at E3, Ghost Games had announced that the new Need for Speed would not be at E3, which was back in June. I knew this before I even made this video. They had hinted that the next game would be around August, July time, because that's when Gamescom is on. And don't get me wrong, I can imagine it will be there. It kind of has me thinking that maybe a 2020 release date might be on the cards for Ghost Games. So as I wait here, I basically decided that I should do a little wish list video. So this is just the stuff I'd like to keep and stuff I'd like to see gone with the next Need for Speed. I'll be mainly using 2015 and Payback as my sources. Obviously, customization is a massive part of the Need for Speed franchise, and judging by how Payback did customization, it is perfect. Literally 100%. I'd say the best thing to do is just add more body kits, bumpers, wheels, side skirts. Just do what Payback did, just with more. I know that's pretty hard, like they did think of everything, but I strongly believe that Ghost Games have come up with something. Another thing I'd like to keep is the car list. The car list for Payback was pretty good. You had way over 70 cars. The only criticism would be is maybe added more sort of mainstream kind of cars, like from the lower end of the spectrum, such as like the Renault Sport Megane or the Vauxhall Corsa and Astra VXRs. Like, just stick mainly to more like hot hatchbacks and sportier saloons and stuff, but have like the supercars kept almost to like a minimum, but just not too little. And basically just add more cars to the game, add a bit more variation, as I can imagine that is what would happen. Another thing I'd say to keep in terms of Payback would be is the cops. My only criticism would be these cops were hard, which is a good thing. However, at launch they weren't available at free roam, and they're still not really available at free roam at the moment. You have to use a bait crate for the police to go after you, which I think is a bit silly, it's a bit stupid. So from day one I would like to see free roam cop chases. Now when you read their article they made a few months ago, they did say they were sticking to more of a 2015 vibe, but with a bigger involvement on cops, which has me kind of to believe that we could have the opportunity to play as both the cop and the racer. To be honest, I don't really want this. Like, it was good in Hot Pursuit and Rivals. However, I can imagine a lot will be taken out in terms of customization, the car list and all that. And I feel it would do more bad than good. And the setup they have going on is currently pretty good. In terms of location, I honestly don't care where the game's set up. For as long as the world is big, open and fun to drive around, I honestly do not care what's the story with it. Maybe bring back weather, but it's not exactly a top priority for me. I don't really care if there's weather in it or not. And now in terms of events, Payback did have a lot of events. We had circuits, sprints, drags, drifts. We had some type of hunter and police chasing sort of missions, as well as the questionable speed cross races. These were all fun, and to be honest, they're flawless. The least I can probably say is just add more variation. As in have some drift races where you're on a track, and some where you're on a canyon, and some where you're on the city streets. Maybe get rid of speed cross. I honestly don't know why that DLC was even added and why I even bought it to begin with. But anyway, like, make the races varied, make them unique, and just make them like something different, so that the game doesn't go stale and it doesn't feel repetitive. One must keep for me is the support. 2015 and Payback received months and months of add-ons and support after they were released. This is a big bonus. I think Need for Speed struck the right chord when they did this. It kept the game fresh, kept the game interesting, and it kept us busy while we were waiting for a new one, which we've been for a while now. I was just thinking of what do I not want in the next Need for Speed, and I could only think of one thing. You've heard from this hundreds and hundreds of times from different people all over the world. Get rid of brake to drift. If you don't know what brake to drift is, instead of turning around the corner as you would on a normal game, or older Need for Speeds for that matter, you basically just tap the brake and the car goes sliding and you turn around the corner. Although this is easy to pick up but hard to master, which is interesting, it just feels almost too unrealistic. It feels too much like Burnout, which isn't a bad thing, but it kind of leaves you with the impression that Need for Speed is trying to be Burnout. But the harsh reality is Burnout is in the past. There probably won't be another one. And I think that physics should have stayed with it. I know Criterion, who developed Burnout, did make a few Need for Speeds. They made Hot Pursuit, Most Wanted, Rivals, and then at that point they handed the torch over to Ghost. And Ghost has been making 2015 and Payback. Ghost will be making this next game, and I'm pretty sure they know that we don't like brake to drift. And I'm pretty sure that they're gonna ignore it. Although, to be fair to the developers, the last two games did have type of sliders which you can adjust if your car wanted to be grippy, like the old Need for Speeds, brake to drift like recent ones. And that was great, but it didn't exactly work. If your car had more than 300 brake horsepower and you had it tuned to grip, it would understeer like a pig. The car became borderline undrivable. In Payback, it was a little more bare, but there was some changes made, like a grip setup on a car in Payback is sort of drivable. And it's been proven time and time again with mods from previous games like Payback and Rivals that a grip physics system is possible in Frostbite. So hopefully Ghost can finally listen to us and try to make a good handling system which combines both. Now, brake to drift is really good in drift races, well obviously. So obviously leave it for that. But for like a regular circuit or a sprint race, you can't just want the car to drive like a normal car. Now, I'm not talking super duper simulation physics like in Forza or Assetto Corsa or Gran Turismo. They should really look at previous games like Most Wanted, Carbon and the Underground games and just use that as like a basis. Make a physics engine like those games and you are on to a real winner. Another thing that they should get rid of from Payback is the way they did performance upgrades. Tune-up shop, really good idea. The amount of performance parts you can buy, another good idea. The bloody cards was awful. Basically, with the old game, you were given these cards. These cards would have their very special performance part which you put in your car. And there you go. If you want better ones, you keep on racing, keep on winning. It was a good grind. I don't mind a good grind in a game, but it just wasn't that great, to be honest. Now, 2015's was more basic. You had more performance parts to choose from, and you unlocked certain performance parts after completing certain races or leveling up and stuff, which is just fine. I'd be happy enough doing that. And to be honest, that is all I can say. Like, the Need for Speed games today are pretty good. However, they just need some changes. And I feel once these changes have been overlooked, they will be on to a real winner. I am excited for next Need for Speed. I can imagine you are too. So when it's revealed, I might do another video on it if you want to watch it. If so, let me know in the comments below. Anyways, thank you for watching.